Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker. We're so glad that you're choosing us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud. All right, let's get straight to it. I'm really excited as we wrap up season 1 of Nickel City Crew for the future as we get into season 2. Season 2 will start for Nickel City Crew next week when the Bills report back to training camp. We heard actually yesterday that the rookies reported to training camp, so that's really exciting. That means football is in the air, and that's my time of year. I'm really excited for the future on Buffalo Fan Base with Justice General along with the Bills Mafia Podcast Network. I'm really excited about everything that's going to be happening, and it got me to thinking today about a mentality that I want everybody to get comfortable with as we approach training camp coming up next week. Get comfortable, Buffalo Bills fans, Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew. Everybody start to get comfortable with Super Bowl or bust and that mentality. You're going to hear it a lot. I've been hearing it a lot as I was getting caught up on some of my Bills news before training camp hits. It was funny that it got me thinking about Super Bowl or bust because the creator was actually talking about it. And Super Bowl or bust to a fan base, really, that only means one of two things, to be honest with you. It can only mean that your team is really, really good if you're talking that way or you're thinking that way. Or that means that you're really, really delusional. Okay. Now, you need to embrace this, Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia, Buffalo Fan Base. Everybody embrace this, Bills fans, because this is not something that happens every season. This is not a feeling that you're going to feel every single year. The drought proved that to us. So let me explain. We all remember when Doug Marrone got to town. He switched up the field house and he started putting up around the facility. Don't confuse efforts with results. Now, that's a moniker that is a good one, actually. You shouldn't confuse effort with results. It made me think about some of the rhetoric that I've been hearing recently about the Super Bowl or bust mentality, and is that a good thing for Bills fans to think about, or is that a bad thing and it makes the season fatalistic and it's all riding on one appearance in the Super Bowl, and then if you don't win, listen, Super Bowl or bust is a good thing, and it's good that we're thinking that way. Teams that are Super Bowl or bust are usually good teams. Again, unless there's the delusional fan base that, like the Cowboys or something like that, always thinks that they're getting ready to go to the promised land. Don't confuse hope with expectations. I offer you that as a rebuttal for anybody that's worried about Super Bowl or bust mentality coming into the 2022 season. These Bills are not a drought team Bills. Bills fans, Nickel City Crew, the Mafia. This is not a drought team Bills. Look at the roster, top to bottom. We've talked about it ad nauseum here on Nickel City Crew, as well as every other platform you can hear of, all the way up to WGR right there in Western New York. This is not a drought team Bills. Everybody has praised Brandon Beane, myself included, in his roster construction leading up to this season. Look back at those teams that we used to root for. When have you ever really expected coming into the season a Super Bowl during the drought? Don't worry, I'll wait, because I would sit here and wait all night if I didn't interrupt you. When have you ever expected one of those drought team Bills to win a Super Bowl? We didn't. We'll be honest. Come on. Now, we could have hoped. I think that that's part of what makes Buffalo Bills fans so special, to be honest with you. The fact that we go out, we support our team. Regardless of the weather, we brave everything to go support the Bills, almost to the point of regardless of record. There is a point, and that's a point with any entertainment industry, with any fan base. There's a point that we don't go. But for the most part, during the drought, when the season was on the line, or when we were still, quote unquote, in the hunt as the season started to wane on, we were always there. And you know it because I was there with you guys, even before my time. But the drought specifically, we were there. That's a special fan base. That we are special because of that. There was no expectations of a Super Bowl over Lombardi those seasons with Paul Posluszny and Dante Whitner and J.P. Lossman, our quarterback. We didn't come into a season with Trent Edwards thinking we were going to win a Super Bowl. Hell, even the year I joined as a season ticket holder in 2009, it was more nostalgia and T.O. coming to town than anything else, and the fact that I moved from Buffalo. I missed my team. I missed Sundays. But it wasn't because I thought that they were getting ready to go to the Super Bowl. So let's keep it real. We keep it real here at Nickel City Crew, and I'm not going to fake you guys out. But I've been hearing a lot of rhetoric of people that are a little bit kind of nervous of the Super Bowl or bust mentality, and that it might, cheapen the season or cheapen our experience. It won't. We'll keep everything in perspective and still expect to go win a Super Bowl. If you think about the drought and then you think about leading up to Sean McDermott coming here, 2017, if you explain it, that's like euphoric. It's euphoric. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. We break the drought, Tyrod Taylor, we go down to Jacksonville. It's a snooze fest. I was there. No place I'd rather be, like Marv Levy. But it was euphoric still. I didn't leave the stadium mad that day. I was happy that we were back relevant, that we were back in the tournament, that we were a player again. 2019, you want to look at that year? That was a lot of fun. That year was fun. We didn't know what was going to happen. And we definitely did not expect a Super Bowl. We see Sugar High Josh, and that becomes a rhetoric. That becomes a talking point heading into the offseason, And we got Kyle Brandt coining the phrase. 2020, I would look at that when McDermott made it again and the Bills made it. That was a surprise. AFC Championship game? We didn't, come on, be honest. We didn't expect to win a Super Bowl that year. Hope and expectations are different. Even last year for me as a Bills fan, and I can only speak for myself, I did not expect the Bills to bring home the Lombardi last year. I really, really hoped that we would. I thought we had a really good shot. And I categorize last year as an opportunity missed. But I still didn't expect them to win the Super Bowl last year, and that's just me. All the other years, I ask you as Bills fans to be honest with yourselves when it comes to expectations. It's not the same as hope. We clearly have the hope. And you got to believe. And all the other T-shirts and all the stuff that we say and the hashtags and different things like that. Bills Nation and Bills Mafia, we're all here together. We all love the Bills passionately. But each year it's its own separate entity. It's its own separate organism. It's its own separate set of problems. And you've got locker room drama and you've got this and that and riffs and raps and contract disputes. Aren't we going through that right now with our Captain Poyer? Every year has its own ingredients to it that make it turn out to be whatever it's going to be. We don't know ahead of time. But I do know that if you are a team that has a Super Bowl or bust mentality as a fan base, like the fans think that, or the players think that, even within the organization, and obviously they're not going to come out and say that too much, but as a fan base, if you're thinking that way, that means you've got a really, really good team and you're probably in a window. Ask Colts fans back in the day with Manning. Ask Patriots fans, obviously, with Brady. Even Steelers fans with their quarterback. Out in the NFC, ask Saints fans if they thought that they had a shot. They probably thought every year they had a real good shot. A real good shot, expecting to be in the Super Bowl, expecting to win. Not every year. It doesn't mean every year, but there's a period where you're in a window. And the Bills are in that window. Let me stand firm on that. The Bills are in that window. I've talked about it before. I talked about it episode 3 before the Kansas City game. I talked about it again episode 8 when I reminded you guys that Brandon Beane was getting ready to set the table up with the draft for everything to be taken care of and for there to be no excuses for why this team can't bring home the Lombardi. The time's now, and I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm very comfortable sitting in that. The time is now. Now, that doesn't mean that it's Super Bowl or bust. So that doesn't mean if we don't win it, that we can't win it next year or in 2024. But, I'm focused right now on this season. It's definitely Super Bowl or bust in my mind. And I'm okay with that. Now, what does Super Bowl or bust even mean? The bust part of Super Bowl or bust mentality, the bust part means that you didn't win it, right? Super Bowl or bust, you didn't win it. Well, 31 other teams don't win it. So who the hell cares? 18 teams don't even get into the tournament. It used to be 20. So I'm going to sit here and be firm and be comfortable in this space. Because I do think that this roster, top to bottom, is top notch. I do think it's Super Bowl worthy. I do see us all crying with our loved ones and friends and getting ready to plan a parade. And I don't even know how many people Buffalo can fit. But I'm sure we would test the city ordinances. I'm sure we would test everything for a parade. Hell, Buffalo might have the longest parade all the way down to City Hall in the history of Super Bowl parades. I think that this team is capable of something great. And I, for a change, expect them to do great things. And that's the key difference. Because we hoped during the drought, and obviously we hoped even back in the day. The 90s fans have a different experience than my generation. My generation, I don't have anything to reference to. There is no big monumental wins that meant something. Sure, we had some regular season wins that were fun. And you beat the Pats finally, and they said the stadium was rocking. Remember, they beat the Eagles with Vic, and that was a big deal. Beat the Packers once. I was there on a Monday night, I think it was, or Sunday night. We haven't had anything sustainable. We didn't make the playoffs for 17 years. Like, what else do you want from my generation? I don't know what it's like to be a 90s fan and wake up and get ready to go see a great offense go to work, and this team can literally win a Super Bowl. And Kelly and Thomas, and I don't have to name everybody for you. And then Bruce Smith is on the other side, our future Hall of Famer. I don't know what that's like, but I do know that this team has Von Miller on it. That's still not tapped out. I do know this team has Josh Allen, who I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I do know it has Stephon Diggs, and that seems to be what every team needs now in this pass-happy league, is a true alpha number one wide receiver. I know we have one. We gave him the captaincy. I'm proud of him. He's my favorite Bill, him and Trey White. I do know that Brandon Beane has literally set the table for this team. And the draft was another stellar one. And obviously the drafts we don't know off the bat, but on paper it looks like it should be great. And we'll see how that tree grows. And of course he's had misses and different things like that. But the team right now coming into 2022, I'm comfortable Super Bowl or bust. I will be disappointed if we don't win the Super Bowl. And I think for a lot of Bills fans, that sounds crazy to say out loud, and that's why there's a little bit of pushback, because we're looking to be comfortable, and we're looking to have some type of cushion. Because for a large generation of our fan base, and even some in the 90s, that would make them feel uncomfortable. In part probably because of the heartache that it would bring up. But back then, after Super Bowl 25, I bet you a vast majority of Bills fans back then thought that the Bills, no doubt, coming into the 91 season were winning the Super Bowl. And they had those expectations. And that would have been totally in line. They were one of the last two teams standing. And so on and so forth. So to say Super Bowl or bust might sound brazen, or it might sound brash or braggadocious, or you've got your nose up like the Patriots fans that we can't stand. But it's not that for us Bills fans. We haven't experienced this in a long time. And for the new generation, my generation, I'm getting ready to be 37 next month. You have nothing to feel bad about. Because the drought is our story as Bills. Like that's a horrible story as a fan base to have as your identifying feature, is that you didn't make the playoffs for 17 years. And people look at, whoa, and all the jokes, and man, you really love the Bills, and they garbage. You know how many jokes I had to endure? Especially being in another state, like people looking at me crazy. I wear Bills stuff every day of the week. It's crazy. That's not a good existence. The existence that we're in right now is lovely. Vegas thinks that we're getting ready to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything on the field. But I know they build a lot of fancy hotels and casinos, and I know that they don't do it based on making bad bets. They think the Bills are going to be really, really good this year. I think that it's okay for you as Bills fans to go along with it and to feel that same way. Now, you just might be a traditionalist and you might say, no, not going to put any hexes on the team. If they make it to the wild card round and lose, I'll be happy. Or they make it to the divisional round and lose, I'll be happy. Or they don't make the playoffs at all, but they had a great season and Josh showed progress, I'll be happy. That's fine. I won't take anything away from those Bills fans. And I'm not trying to disparage you. You feel about the team whatever way you want to feel about the team. We are fans of this team. We support this team, whatever you're comfortable with. But I am going to push back on rhetoric that I hear that sounds like people are more hesitant to embrace what they already feel. And that would be being fake. Every year is not a Super Bowl year. Every year you do not think the Bills were going to win the Super Bowl. It's not a true statement. You didn't. And it's okay that you do now. And more importantly, it's okay if you'll be disappointed if we don't. Because I will. I think the window is open. I literally did an entire episode on it. I think the window is open right now. Josh Allen, one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. He's like a mountain, and he's a football player. That's the best way I describe Josh to people that like at the barbershop. And man, your quarterback, he nice, man. He tough. I say he's a football player. He plays quarterback, but he's a football player. And he's inspiring on the football field. Same thing with Captain Diggs. Like, he's inspiring the way his energy, what he brings to the offense, what he brings to the entire team, it permeates throughout. You see him on the sideline. So I'm really excited about the Bills. I'm really excited about embracing this mentality. I invite people that have been resisting Super Bowl or bust to not be as resistant and to understand that it's okay. It just means the team is really, really freaking good. It means that the Bills are really good, and that's your team. And it's okay to feel that way. And if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's okay to be disappointed. We all want them to win the Super Bowl every year. We all hope the Bills would have won the Super Bowl. We hope that they would have won 20 by now, right? But we're also realistic. Expectations come with realism. How realistic are you about the Bills? And if we're honest with ourselves back in the drought, for my generation of fans, we know that we didn't really believe in those teams. And I know some of the 90s fans feel the same way about those teams. And we haven't felt this as a Bills fan base since those 90s teams and those fans that went out there and supported the team at the Ralph. Those are some special teams. And I know that the energy and the atmosphere around the teams as they were heading into their training camps had to be completely similar to what we're getting ready to go through right now, because there's a buzz around the team. There hasn't been much to talk about because there's not much drama. We've got conversations about Captain Poyer getting his bag, and that's really about it. Brandon Beane, another stellar offseason in my opinion. There hasn't really been a lot going on around the Bills. We're all monitoring Captain Trey White and hoping that he comes back from injury, knock on wood, perfectly. Analyzing the draft picks, trying to figure out how James Cook fits in, and Kyer Elam and Shakir, and how is everything going to work out in the slot and this and that. We've got different questions. Sure, there's always questions. You know, I've been stuck on the Ken Dorsey offensive coordinator gig. That's been my sticking point and something I've been focused in on. But there hasn't been a lot going on around the Bills in respect to drama. Now, training camp is starting back up. Football is officially back in the air. And boy, is there a lot of drama about to start. Because you can feel it around the team. And I've spoken to sources inside the Bills, and that's not me trying to pull a Adam Schefter or anything like that. Like, I literally have close friends that know inside the locker room that have said that they are hungry. That they are hungry to rectify 13 seconds. They are hungry to rectify the entire season. I talked about it in one of the previous episodes. I would consider last season not a failure, because that's too harsh, and that's just too harsh. I'm a Bills fan, and my team didn't fail last year, but they did disappoint when it counted the most. And 13 seconds, we'll talk about that maybe one more time before training camp starts. I'm going to try to pump out 2 episodes this week. Season 2, Nickel City Crew, starts next week when training camp starts, and I don't want to talk about 13 seconds anymore. But I've spoken to people inside the locker room that know people inside the locker room, that the Bills are hungry. They know what happened. There's no confusion over what happened. Everybody knows what happened. I'm talking about the players. And they're hungry. They're hungry to atone. And to me, as a Bills fan, that gets my juices flowing. That gets me all about Super Bowl or bust. I'm all about it. I want a parade. I think it'll be the single most euphoric day in Bills sports history. Kind of obviously. I know we have AFL Championship 64, 65. It was probably a different vibe. Right now, it would be wild. I can't imagine what the home opener is going to be like. I just started coming up with plans and different things like that with a couple of my boys for tailgating with that game. That's going to be ridiculous. You can feel it. You can feel it building. It's almost like a powder keg. That doesn't mean the Bills are going to go out and win the Super Bowl this year. That doesn't mean that. It just means that the expectations have been set. Vegas says it. The players feel it. We definitely feel it as fans for a lot of us. So I was actually sticking my hand across the aisle to the other side of Bills fans after I was listening and catching up to some of the other content creators. I extend my hand to any Bills fan that is nervous about Super Bowl or bust. Don't be nervous. Embrace it. This is fun. This is sports. It's entertainment. Enjoy it. Literally, enjoy it. And some fans I know, you guys all know here at the Nickel City Crew how much I listen to WGR, and like Howard Simon, I love listening to the morning show with him and Jeremy, and he talks about the stress and he can't handle the stress, and like there is a certain amount of sports stress that comes with it. And he sits down in a bunker and watches the Bills games, regular season ones, let alone playoff ones, and like that's how he processes his emotions for the game. So I'm asking you, Bills fans that are nervous about Super Bowl or bust, think about processing your emotions in a different way. Be okay with it being all about getting to Super Bowl 57. Let's get to Arizona, and then we let the chips fall. If you're a participant, we represent the AFC, I can live with that. I can live with it. Boy, will I be disappointed, and boy, there'll be more jokes, and we go 0-5, and yeah, sure. And I don't know how many teams have lost 5. A few probably, I think. But, I mean, I don't know how many have. It's got to be a short list. I know Denver's lost a bunch and the Vikings have. But 5, sure, that would suck. But we get to the Super Bowl and realize our potential in respects to at least representing the conference, I'm going to be pretty happy. And then the bust part is that, hey, we didn't get it done. And I will be disappointed. Just like 13 seconds, I'll be disappointed. So I wanted to offer up that. I know it's a little bit off topic, but Super Bowl or bust has been a topic among Bills fans, and I was trying to offer my 2 cents on it, on my perspective and how I feel about it. Now, as we wrap up and we head towards training camp, I'm really excited that the fans get a chance to get back out to St. John Fisher. I know that there was a little bit of a gaffe I heard through Twitter about the training camp tickets and different things like that. So I hope everything got worked out and all the families get a chance to go out there and experience it. I know it's hot, but nothing like it. I remember going up there with my children and my sons. We had a blast, and it'll be interesting to watch this team as we head into training camp. I don't know how many training camp battles we're really looking at. To be honest, slot receiver will be something under focus. We expect Crowder probably to win that job. Or at least get pushed by Isaiah. I don't know where Shakir is going to fit in. Cornerback 2 seems to be something that probably would be locked up, especially with Trey probably easing his way back in. So you might even see Elam and Cam Lewis kind of going 1-2 as they ease Trey back in. Offensive line is always interesting to watch for depth. Looks like the starting 5 might be kind of set in pencil at least. and you can press pretty firm on the pencil and then maybe take out a guard or two. But I really think Saffold will be on the left side next to Dion. Obviously, Mitch Moore signed his extension, so it's really right guard, to be honest. And then maybe a surprise at right tackle, but it looks like Spencer Brown will be ready to man up the right side of the line. So there's not too many battles. It'll be fun just to see the team back out there. And again, I'm not going to ruin the season by focusing in on the larger goal. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'll sit back and enjoy it, and I'll try to do the best of both worlds. Again, a WGR reference. I remember Bulldog on the afternoon show talking about one of the Sabres seasons, how he had, I guess it was after they were really successful. I think it was 04, 05, and then the next season he was so focused on them getting to the Stanley Cup that he kind of just breezed by the regular season. Now, that's a little bit different and he regretted it. That's a little bit different for football because we've got 17 events. It's different than 82 games. So I guess you can get swept up in an NBA season or NHL season a little bit easier. All 17 games for the Bills are going to be events. We're going to be locked in. We can't wait. And it's okay to expect us to win the East. And if we don't, obviously we'll all be hoping at that point, switching expectations. We'd have to change our expectations. We would be hoping to get a wild card. And then we will probably be still calling it a fluke and trying to still get to the Super Bowl. There's pretty much nothing that can change Super Bowl or bust for me other than some type of injury, knock on wood, before the season. My expectations are that the Bills will represent the AFC. I think it will. It'll be hard. It's not going to be easy. And we talked about it in the last few episodes when I have to go through Denver or Kansas City, the boogeyman, or the Chargers possibly, or maybe the Raiders, or the Colts, or the Ravens, or maybe the Browns if Deshaun Watson is not suspended for a ton of games. But that's about it. I mean, we look around, that's about, or maybe Tennessee, possibly. You look around the end of the AFC, not too many contenders that could knock the Bills off, in my opinion, and apparently in a lot of people's opinion. So I can't wait for training camp to come. I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are as well. I already know you are. I don't have to hope. I expect that you guys are very excited about the Bills season coming up. I cannot wait. Training camp, St. John Fisher, get the fans back out there, the kids out there, get autographs, all the good stuff. Josh Allen, they're always great with the kids, and we really love that. Obviously, this is entertainment, and we are the patrons, and obviously when they interact with us and our children, it makes us feel really great. Wasn't it awesome to see Josh Allen throwing the football to the kids at the stadium the other last year, I think it was, and they were in the red jerseys, and that was really fun before a game, or I think it was a practice or something like that, and that warmed my heart. I know that just trickled around, social media, and those are really the kind of things that, again, I'll go back to my theme: spread love, not hate. We've got to do that. There's been a lot of stuff going on still, and I really want everybody to continue to focus on spreading love, not hate. Jefferson Avenue, the Top's open back up. I'm going to have a guest on next week, and I hope to have a few guests on, but I'm going to have a guest on next week to kind of highlight some of the changes that have been going on the east side and the direction, because change happens when we listen to each other and then when we actually start getting our feet moving. So I'm really excited about everything that's been happening here at Nickel City Crew, Buffalo fan base. Again, shout out to Justice General. As always, shout out to Jay Spence, the king over at Buffalo Rumblings, my guy, for getting us all hooked up. And definitely shout out to the Bills Mafia Podcast Network for welcoming me. And I can't wait to start season 2 next week. It's going to be really exciting. So as always, these were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Please, again, spread love, not hate. Go Bills.